My name is Stanford Nyasanza, and today we are joined by Mr. Alex Kakanje.
I will first tell you my full names so that there is no confusion in the people. I am Alex Taurai Kandishaya Kakanje. Those are my full names. I am from the Citizens Forum. In fact, I am the national coordinator for the Citizens Forum.
Can you tell us what Citizens Forum stands for?
A Citizens Forum is a grouping of citizens of Zimbabwe who have an understanding that Zimbabwe is the only country that they have. This is a gathering of citizens outside political affiliations or political inclinations. It's strictly for citizens who understands that they have no other country besides Zimbabwe. This is to say, these are people who understands their obligation of serving Zimbabwe, not only for them but for the future generations, since we also inherited this country from the previous generation. This is what our Citizens Forum is all about. So our mandate is to make sure the constitution is upheld, is to make sure every citizen is acting according to his or her obligation and mandate of serving Zimbabwe.
So, basically, what is the rationale behind these petitions? Particularly the petitions that we have submitted to the British Embassy, United States Embassy, and others NGOs operating here in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, the issue is we observed that the political playfield here in Zimbabwe is no longer controlled by Zimbabweans. It's no longer based on the Zimbabwean ethics and values. Our political space is now infiltrated by some external hands who have various ambitions that are beneficial to their countries, thereby overriding the will and the wish of the Zimbabwean people. This is to say, Zimbabweans no longer have control of their political space. So we are now living in a rented political space imposed on us by some foreign people. For example, we petitioned the civic society organizations such as the Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition. Our petition is very clear. We need to know why is it their hand is being visible in our political space. Why is their name being mentioned in the political space when they are a civic organization that must limit itself to humanitarian activities that includes upholding of the rule of law? We petitioned the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights. Why? Because 2 days before a demonstration that is victims, they are victims of that demonstration. There are a lot of people who were bashed by those violent protesters. There are businesses that were looted. There are people who died. You see? So the demonstration inconvenienced a lot of people. Then the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights had offered a free legal aid service 2 days before the demonstration day, which simply means they were guaranteeing those who would be criminals that you are free to go and loot, you are free to go and beat people, we shall give you free legal aid service. But they did not give in advance legal aid services to the would-be victims. Even today, they've never represented a victim of looting, a victim of housebreaking. They've never. So we are saying to them, why is it that your hand is seen supporting one of the sides, which is the bad side, the demonstrators, the looters? We petitioned the British. Why? Because in their parliament, there is one MP who raised a point that we must recolonize Zimbabwe. It simply means they are financing chaos here in Zimbabwe, such that if chaos happens, they have money more than us, Zimbabwe. They sponsor chaos, they sponsor violence, such that our government fails to contain the chaos. Then they interject to say you have failed and do the Venezuela way. So we are saying to the British Embassy, and this is serious. We delivered a petition yesterday and they tried to play games with us by stamping a stamp that has no identity of the British Embassy. However, we agreed with them. They signed, I think the head of political desk and the chief security officer of the British Embassy. They ended up appending their signatures on the petition to say you've received the petition. We are saying to them, if their MP if what their MP said is not what they want, they must issue a statement, and back in Britain they must recall him. They constructed a very beautiful embassy in Zimbabwe, they have security, they are safe. Then what do they mean when they say there is human rights abuse in Zimbabwe? Their new ambassador issued a statement soon after the skirmishes. She said the people of Matabeleland, they lost property, like they were abused. Meaning to say they wanted to donate humanitarian aid to Matabeleland. Why are they dividing our nation? What of people of Harare? In Urungu it also happened. In Kadoma, they have an agenda in Matabeleland, and you understand the agenda where it's emanating from. So we are saying to them, it's either you shape up or ship out. This time it's different because it's not a political party fronting this. We discovered this. These political parties are abusing the citizens. Citizens no longer have voice, but politicians. We no longer want a political party that uses people to maintain power, to maintain relevance. We don't want a political party that uses people to maintain power, to acquire power. We want political parties that are people-centered. Election period, election season is over. It's done, it's a closed chapter that there is a certain political party that won elections, and that political party is now the government of the day. That government of the day must be given time to perform, or else if people keep on interfering with its operations, the failure of that government won't be visible, for that government will cast blame on those political parties. So we are saying everyone must stand down and allow the government to do its job. The purpose of establishing an embassy in a certain country is to tie relationships, not to cause confusion. So we are saying to America the same. We don't mind they keep renewing sanctions. Sanctions are basically imposed on a country that behaves, that has a behavior which is regarded as international threat. How is Zimbabwe behaving so bad to deserve sanctions when we have constructed completely new and expensive embassy in Zimbabwe? Why are they recalling some ambassadors, giving us new ambassadors if we have violence here in Zimbabwe?
So if I get you right, you said you don't want a political party or an opposition political party that operates in a way that is detrimental to the citizens. And you have also alluded to the fact that you don't need a ruling party that maintains power in a way that suppresses the citizens, right? So have you also tried to petition ZANU-PF, given that he has also acted in a way that resulted in human rights being violated?
We petitioned the ZANU-PF in this way. If you look at our constitution of 2013, amendment number 20, it is different from the previous one. So this is what happened. When we entered the political system, we as citizens have been monitoring all these political parties, mainly the two, ZANU-PF and MDC. What were we monitoring? The first was the message delivered by the politicians or by their leaders. What was the message? What was Mnangagwa saying? What was Chamisa saying? We started monitoring that way, such that we form our basis for petition. We went on to observe that when violence started in Zimbabwe, in 2008, it's true there was violence, and everybody knows that. And the violence was said to be led by ZANU-PF. We monitored in 2018. Soon after voting, on the 1st of August, there was violence. Who caused that violence? Our elections were almost at the percentage of being declared credible because there were no violence. But now, look my brother, because of these external hands, on 1st of August, you do not want to beat about bushes. There was violence by the opposition, main opposition MDC, on allegations of rigging. That was their right of demonstration, but the demonstration ended up violent, and the government had to intervene to contain the violence. From there, what was the message during election campaign? We were observing E.D. Mnangagwa preaching about peace, inclusivity, tolerance. On the other hand, Chamisa was preaching, he was just showing off his muscles, preaching about the gesture, preaching about making the country ungovernable. What I'm saying here is not attacking MDC, but there is evidence.
But we have seen citizens that you are representing being tortured, brutalized by state institutions. So why didn't you petition those institutions like the military, the way you petitioned these NGOs?
It's okay. At the moment, the word brutality is heavy. The word brutality. It's not easy for me or for you to prove brutality by the military guys or by the security setup of Zimbabwe. Why? Brutality can only be proved if the period were in election mode, if people were beaten in rural areas, if people were being abused. Now you cannot talk of brutality when the protesters themselves, they were abusing the citizens' right. They were doing brutality. In which way? If you go to Epworth with videos, people were in their combis and their vehicles going to work, they were made to return home. Their freedom of movement was abused. But we are talking of very few people who are violent against a lot of peaceful people. At the end of the day, the peaceful people were conquered. So that's the beginning of brutality. So now, it's not easy to prove brutality when the security agents comes to play to contain the situation. In the same way, Maynard Trump said, we are going to protect those who protect us. If you kill a policeman, we are going to kill you. This is according to Trump. So now it's not easy to say, it's not fair to say the military did the brutality when brutality was done by citizens, citizen to citizen.
But what about those who were brutalized at their home?
The situation is, I repeat again, I quoted Linda Masarira as saying, and Rashid Mahia, that's one of the reasons why we petitioned him of the Crisis Zimbabwe Coalition. He admitted that the MDC alliance had trainings of their people. I'm not speaking as inclined to any political party, but as a citizen, because that is what we have agreed down there. So if MDC trained its people, if MDC truly had trainings, which means they've an external military, they have a military wing, and you know Vanguard, you know the Shakespeare McCoy. There are even some guys who were shot by this group of Shakespeare McCoy. So we are saying it's not fair and it can't be substantiated at the moment to say it's the military, from our perspective as citizens, who brutalized the people, because the agenda of this foreign hand is to paint a black picture on our government, is to tarnish our nation. So they can do anything necessary, and it can be a defense from the military or from the ruling government to say, no, these are the guys who did it. And you must understand that ZANU-PF had divisions recently, the G40 with Mugabe. I once quoted Jim Kunaka during the Commission of Inquiry. He said, ZANU-PF would give us police uniforms, then we'll go in the streets pretending to be police officers and beat people. That same Jim Kunaka is now in the MDC camp. That same Mugabe, who was giving uniforms to Jim Kunaka, is now supporting the alliance. That same Mashaya Mumbu, who was doing it, is now in the MDC. Then we concluded as citizens that the same Jim Kunakas who were given police uniforms might be the same people who were given military uniforms to go out there and brutalize people just to soil the national army. So at the moment I am saying, if MDC, alliance and opposition and these embassies were behaving well, it was easy to point that this is the ZNA doing it, because they are not reacting to anything, because there is no agenda to tarnish any image. But now we cannot substantiate that.
Recently we saw a certain gentleman in ZANU-PF, and then the same gentleman was in military fatigue, in handcuffs. What's your take?
I will not dwell much on that, because I think when you saw him in handcuffs, there are some people who had arrested him. So it simply means maybe investigations are underway. All I can say is, if the gentleman was in ZANU-PF regalia, later he was in military way, and he's arrested, it simply means the authorities in charge of that are dealing with it. However, I come back to the fact that citizens must not suffer. At the end of the day, that guy is a citizen. Maybe somebody made him to wear that military uniform to do that kind of brutality. Maybe the operation started by giving that guy ZANU-PF regalia. I can give you an example of this useless comic pastor. He was recently in Joburg putting on a regalia of ZANU-PF. I don't think he is ZANU-PF, but we'll check with the ZANU-PF, maybe his name in their structures. That same scenario could have been the one that happened to that guy who ended up being arrested for wearing military wear. If comic pastor was putting on ZANU-PF regalia, he is not ZANU-PF. It might be the same with the guy.
So by the end of today, the 48 ultimatum is lapsing. So given that these NGOs do not respond to your petition, what are you going to do?
As I am speaking right now, meetings are underway across Zimbabwe. I think 5 provinces, people are being addressed as I am speaking right now, to say if they don't respond, tomorrow we are in town. Tomorrow we are in town.
Right.
48 hours, on the lapse of 48 hours, if there is a certain embassy or an organization that might seek an extra time, the extra time will not exceed 24 hours. Because maybe for diplomatic purposes, like the British embassy, we got there, they are consulting everywhere. We are giving them that time, but it won't exceed 24 hours. But as I am speaking right now, even if I want to be a pilot, I raise my phone to our structures. By 12 midday, there will be more than 2,000 people in the British embassy. Just a pilot, for you to prove if we are joking or not, we can do it. Even if the British embassy think we are joking, even if the American embassy think we are joking, they must just give us 4 hours. We have 3,000 or 4,000 people in the embassy, 2,000 in the British embassy, 2,000. But these 2,000 people will not go back home. So if they think we are not serious, let them challenge us, and we will do a pilot to prove to them. The thing is, we are not funded by anybody. This is the reason why we have a lot of people. We went to the people, we sold our story, we presented to them who their real enemy is. So now people know their real enemy. So down there in the rural areas, people will fundraise for themselves. People will sell their chicks, will sell their goats for this, because we've suffered enough. Americans for Americans, British for British.
There you are, Zimbabwe. We were joined by Alex Kakanji, who is the National Coordinator of Citizens Forum. Thank you so much, Mr.
It's okay.